Coming up on the program, we're going to start our onions, and there's information that you need to know so you actually get onions in your garden. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored in part by, for all your non-GMO, heirloom, organic, vegetable, flowers, and herb seeds, visit dollarseed.com. Sioux Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil. With their new garden blend, improving soil structure in clay and sandy soil, great for creating new garden beds. Also available from Sioux's, pre-filled trays and pots with professional potting soil mix or organic rice hull-based potting soil mix. Bag and bulk of certified leaf compost also available. Visit SiouxGrowingSupply.com. Don't poison your soil with municipal water. Attach a body, mind, and soil hose and filter. Free shipping exclusively through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just click on the body, mind, and soil icon. Authentic Haven brand soil conditioner for the home gardener. Easy to brew, 100% organic. Visit ManureTea.com. Rain Reserve. Reserving your rain, preserving our future. Rain Reserve, manufacturing of rainwater capturing capabilities. Visit rainreserve.com and use coupon code RAIN2016 to save 10% on your total purchase. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. One of the first vegetables that you can start indoors is onions. Now, onions you want to start about 12 to 14 weeks before your average last frost date. Now, hold on, just because you can start them doesn't mean that they're going to grow successfully. And what I mean by that is onions fall into three different categories. And I got a map here to help illustrate it better. Onions are midday, long day, and short day onions. So what that means is as you get higher up towards the North Pole, your days get longer, and onions require that particular length in order to bulb correctly. Now, there are onions that fall that are all three different categories, okay? So what that means is just because you go to your big box store and buy a pack of onion seeds or onion sets or the little onion bulbs, that doesn't necessarily mean that is indicating, for instance, if you buy them in Maine or New York or Minnesota or Wisconsin, that doesn't mean that you're going to get onions. Big box stores carry all three varieties because they want to allow you, the customer, to purchase whatever you want. Now, make this a little more understanding. If you have a long day onion and you try to grow it in the south, you're not going to get a bulb. You're going to get top growth. You're going to get basically like chives. And the opposite, if you try to grow a short day in the northern portions, you're going to get chives or greens. You're not going to get a bulb. Now, the neutrals in the center of the United States, that's where it kind of fluctuates based on how close you are to the long day or the short day indication on the lines here. And you can go to any search engine and really see this in very detailed based on your growing zone. That's where some of these may work and be okay in the center. But each variety you can look up online and it will indicate whether it's a long day, short day, or a neutral or midday variety. So keep that in mind before you go buy starts at your local garden center, or you buy seeds online and decide I'm going to start them indoors, and then you put all the effort and work into it and you just get onion stalks and no bulb. That can be an indication why. Now, what we're planting here, we're going to do leeks too, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to do onions, two varieties of long day onions, white sweet Spanish and yellow sweet Spanish onions. And we're going to do them in these flats here, these 10 by 20 flats. We've done this last year and it worked absolutely phenomenal. It worked great. We were able to get them in the ground, and we actually got onions that we are cooking with that we grew ourselves, which we were able to achieve that. This year's goal is to get large onions. We got tennis ball and golf ball size onions, so we want large onions and a lot of them this year. So those two varieties we're going to just mix in the tray here. We're going to put some certified leaf compost from Sioux Growing Supplies in this. But also, we're going to grow some short day and some neutral day or midday onions in these little 4-inch or 3-inch pots here. Why? Because we want to see if the neutral day onion, we can get any bulb growth out of it. The neutral day onion is going to be a Southport red globe onion, and we're going to grow some short day onions strictly for the green top portion of it, and that's going to be some Vandalia onions. So we're going to keep those over here so we don't get any of that mixed up. Now, here's how we're going to do the onions. I talked about we're going to use this flat. Now, we have used the 9-ounce cups and the party cups before planting onions, but what we have found, or what our mistake was, we put too many onions in each cup. The onions absorbed the moisture very quickly, and they became stressed and did not get good bulkiness on the stalk. They didn't get large enough to where when we put them outside, they could survive. So that was a mistake that we made. Now, with doing it in a 10 by 20 flat, there's going to be a lot of soil, a lot of moisture that soil is going to be able to retain, and they won't dry out nearly as quick. Now, we will put these under a grow light after they germinate. The germination will be 3 to 7 days realistically indoors here. If you're planting them outside, you're looking more like 7 to 14 days, but because of the moisture, the warmth, that will really encourage the speed of germination. So we're going to do kind of a cocktail mixture here on our soil that we're putting in. We've got certified leaf compost, we got professional potting soil, and we got organic rice hull potting soil. The professional potting soil and the rice hull have fertilizer. The rice hull has slow release fertilizer, and so does the professional potting soil. So we're just going to take a little bit from all three and mix together, because we had very good success with the professional potting soil last year. So we're going to add a little bit of all three and see if we can even get even a better conclusion or better growth on our onions. And we're going to do the same mixture over in our leeks, and we'll go ahead and get both of these prepped, and then we'll talk about planting leeks after we get the onions planted. Okay, so we've made basically a 3-layer salad with this, the compost, the rice hull, and the professional potting soil. Now, in all three, or in the professional potting soil and the rice hull, there is certified leaf compost in it. There are just other amenities that have been added. The professional potting soil has a time-release fertilizer and peat moss. The rice hull potting soil has rice hulls, peat moss, organic fertilizer. So basically what we've done here is we put the compost in the bottom, the rice hulls in the center, and the professional potting soil on the top. Now, by no means is this something that you need to do in order to get successful onions. This is just something we're doing to see if we can increase the bulkiness of the onions by doing this 3-layer the bulkiness of the onions and the leeks by doing this 3-layer compost potting soil mixture. Now, we talked about the short day and the midday onions. Those are just pure compost, certified leaf compost. We're not doing anything special with those. So let's talk about how to plant these onions to get them growing right. So the first thing you want to do is identify what you got. Onions and leeks, until they gets midsummer, you're not going to know what you got, because everything looks identical because they're related. So we want to identify the onion tray there, and we want to identify the leek tray there. And then these here, I will mark with a marker, because I will know. I'm just going to put short S, S, M, M. Okay, so now we're all organized. So with this, each one of these seeds packets contain 110 seeds. So we're going to put all 220 seeds in this tray here. And we're going to space them out, not, minutely. We're just going to broadcast them. And the onions are very tough and resilient, and they will grow just fine with proper light, artificial light in this instance, and water and manure and manure tea and everything. That these things will grow very good. So I'm just putting them in my finger and just back and forth, just releasing a few at a time, trying not to get any large clusters of onions in any one particular location. Now, you could space these out to the point where you'd have 110 in each tray. That would be fine. Most likely, well, what we had done last year was, as these matured, we took the largest and healthiest ones and planted them in the garden. I believe we had all together about 125 really healthy onions that we had in the garden. So it worked out quite well. All right, I'm trying to space these out, and then I will come back and plant the yellow Spanish onions here. So we've got the seeds all planted or broadcast. Now all we want to do, the secret to planting seeds is no more than 3 times deep as the seed is. So let's say the seed was 1 inch in size. You could plant that up to 3 inches deep. Now, so this is a very light dusting, and all I'm going to do is use the potting soil as a dusting. Now, you could go with a vermiculite or a perlite all together on the top and just make like a white blanket on top. That's a very light material that the seeds will be able to germinate through. This potting soil is extremely light with all the additives that has been put into it. We want to make sure we cover these seeds very well, because the seeds are not going to germinate unless they are under soil. Some seeds will. Onions are not one of those. Now, onion seeds are viable for 1 at very, very most 2 years. So if you have a lot of onion seeds, you want to use them up, or just get new seeds, because the viability percentage of them germinating decreases extremely each year. Now with these smaller containers here, I'm just going to put about a dozen, or about 8 to 10 seeds in each one of these, and then I'm going to top them off with a professional potting soil there, just to have a top dressing on them. I don't need thousands of these. I just want to top dress a couple of them, or I just want to plant a couple of them in each of them, and then just top dress them. Now, watering these is very important, but you don't want to overwater them. You want to give them a nice soaking moisture consistency, like a damp sponge. That would be adequate for seed starting. You don't want them setting in water in this instance. Now, if you bottom water other plants, that's a totally different thing. We'll talk about that when we get to it. So we just want to mist the water until it permeates through the soil and everything becomes very damp in it, and then we're good to go. And we want to keep that moisture consistency steady so the seeds don't dry out in the process of germinating, or once they get to the stage of a certain height, then they dry up and they die. So we want to keep that all the moisture consistent. Now let's talk about leeks. Leeks, on the other hand, there's no category for leeks based on your living area, your longitude or latitude or anything like that. All leeks will grow anywhere. They're a cool weather. We start them, well, they're a cooler weather crop. We start these very early, the same time as we do the onions, and we'll harvest these in late September, October, and November. So they can set in the garden all year long. They take about 130 to 150 days based on your variety. Onions, on the other hand, will take 90 to 120 days based on their variety. So we've got 2 types of leeks. We got we got both American flag leeks, store-bought or dollar seed leeks, and then leeks we've saved from the leeks that we had a couple years ago that went to bolt, that went to seed. We're going to broadcast them the same way. There's nothing special about it. Again, put a little compost on top of them, a little professional potting soil, and keep the moisture consistent. The ideal time to plant these is we want to get them bulked up until a couple of weeks before your last average frost date, and then take them out in the garden. And we want these to be as bulky as possible, like a number 2 pencil type of diameter. So that's the goal. If they are smaller than a number 2 pencil, they will work, they will grow, as we have found last year. They're a little more fidgety. If they're a little more stringy, they do take a little more effort to get them to mature. So starting onions, you got to know what kind of onions you have, where you live. That's the type of the onions you want to search online for the variety, long day, medium day, sometimes they're called neutral day, as well as short day onions. So you, after putting all the effort in, can guarantee yourself good onions in your garden. Thanks for watching. Join us again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.